Gets open for three. Dagger!
The kick in, here it comes. Swing and a miss! And a World Series Game 7 winning Curly W is in the books.
Washington Capitals are the 2018 Stanley Cup champions. You like that? You like that? I like that.
You gotta like that, right?
My approval ratings keep going up.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Welcome in to Feeding the Curse. Matt the Met is chuckling as we come into the show. I'm not sure what to make of that exactly. Okay, the intro is as old as the show, with the exception of maybe a first couple years. FP, gotta keep me honest on this, but I think this has always just been with us, and I can't bring myself. I've actually hired guys out to like cut pieces of various shows and sound bites for everybody that's been on the show to do like a longer form intro. But I kind of just like that one. I mean, that rock track is great, and it reminds us of when DC was, I mean, there's two victories in there, two big ones anyway, but I'm still cheering for Kirk, and Beal is dead to most of us, but I like it. I like it, Matt.
It's the Bradley Beal thing that got me most. I think that was the one where I was like, are we really going to start with Beal?
But it's less about Beal, okay, and it's more about one of the best to ever do it, right? The dagger call still lives on. I actually may clip that and just have that in the board moving forward. But let's get into some DC happenings here. Matt the Met, thanks for making time. We're gonna get to your area of expertise, okay, baseball. But you are a Giants guy.
Yes, sir.
You're an ex-New York guy. I'm happy to claim you as a DC, Washingtonian at this point, right? You've been here for long enough where we can claim you. And I think you've been paying attention to the team, down the street from us here. The Commanders, obviously, FP, they went into Baltimore. There was a lot of emotional hedging in the chat going into the game, right? A lot of people just, I'm hoping for the best. I'm praying for the best. But this is a real litmus test against a real team that is truly contending, not just in the AFC, but at the NFL at large. I mean, this is a team that many people had pegged at minimum AFC Championship game. They've got two MVP caliber players right now, or performers right now, at two of the, arguably obviously position 1 and position 2, with Lamar at QB, Derrick Henry at running back. And they really were unstoppable, right? The rushing attack just was tremendous, certainly as billed. But what was your immediate takeaway from the game, FP? I'll tell you mine in a second. But like, you watched that game in real time. I actually was on tape delay. I pulled an LP this week. But FP, like, what was your immediate takeaway from the game? Because it started off okay, and then it looked like it was sort of in reach. To me, somewhere in the third quarter, just seemed to get a little bit out of hand. But what was or out of reach? What was your immediate takeaway?
Any question about Jaden Daniels, if he's a fluke or not, has been answered. He is the guy moving forward. Washington has found a franchise quarterback through and through. I'm not one for moral victories. I hate playing that card. But when you look at the league at large, which we'll go over.
Sounds like you're playing that card, but go ahead.
No. But when you look at the league at large, this is the team that came in all house money. Nobody expected this team to be competitive. Nobody expected our offense to do anything. Nobody had any idea what was going to come out. And one of the first things I said at the start of the season on this show was, I want to see a team that looks like they belong in the field with real NFL teams, with real competitive teams, right? That is exactly what happened. You don't have running back 1 in B-Rob, and you came out and you essentially go toe for toe with a Super Bowl favorite with 2 MVPs, like you said, and we looked competitive. We looked like we were right in it till the end. And no point during that game do you turn it off and you're like, oh, we can't do it, or we're out, blah, blah, blah. Nope. As soon as you think everything is going wrong, touchdown to Terry. You keep going, you keep churning, keep getting a stop, keep getting an interception on Lamar. The team as a whole, top to bottom, coaching and players, playing with house money, they look competitive, they look great. And if you tell me after 6 games that you're 4-2 and your losses come against the Ravens and a really good playoff-looking Bucks, I mean, sure, you cannot be mad at that loss. Obviously, the world is different under 5-1, but nobody should be mad about what they saw on Sunday.
Matt, go ahead, jump in here. I'll come in after you.
I was just going to say, I think it's telling that everybody's talking about the Redskins, the Commanders, right, coming out of this game.
They're still
right,
Redskins.
and all right, but that's my point. I think what's amazing is nobody expected them to really put up a fight. They took punches and they stayed in it.
Yeah.
And I think what's actually really telling about them is the conversation is more about how good they looked staying in that game than it was the Ravens doing what they were expected to do. And I think that's actually really unique for this time of year in this team and this city for as long as I've been here now. Like there's legitimacy. Again, there's legitimacy at the one, there's legitimacy, in your wide receiver core.
There's
right.
hope.
So there's a lot to be.
Yeah.
You have a good coaching. Like I think Derrick Henry, my whole thing is like, man, the poor guy's been like in Tennessee for all these years, hitting you put him with a great QB. Baltimore looks legit. I think that's a whole other conversation. We'll get to them in a little bit, but DC's impressive, really impressive. After Baltimore scored early, I was like, okay, this is they're gonna run over them, and it didn't happen. And yes, I know moral victories don't count in sports, but there's a lot to be impressed about. There's a lot to be excited about, and I'm letting my kids root for the Commanders. That's all I can say.
I came to see if you're okay. Okay, that's the only reason I'm here, is to make sure Matt.
I'm gonna boot this guy out of the chat. I'm gonna boot him right out of here. Okay, but Stevie, before I don't. There's a chance you didn't even watch the game, so I'm gonna ask you in a second. But I just want to get my 2 cents in here real quick. If you had to have one of these two games against the Ravens or against the Panthers, and I think we brought this up last week, the one I want to have is the Panthers, right? If you beat the team you're supposed to beat consistently in this league, you're going to be okay. I think had they gone into Baltimore and won, we would be obviously euphoric right now. But the probability of a Panthers loss would have also exponentially shot up. Like, they were supposed to lose to the Ravens. They lost to the Ravens. FP, to your point, 4-2 start. That's a great start, especially considering where the NFC East is at large at the moment. But they have to get this Panthers game. Like, you have to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. And several of their opponents, and I will include the Bears, although Caleb is playing much better, that's a team that they got to get past as well. So, Stevie, 2 questions to you. First, did you watch the game? He's nodding his head no. This is an audio medium, so you have to say something. And then secondly, do you expect them? Do you expect Jaden to win MVP of the league at large? Because you seem to be very excited about him.
Yeah. I didn't watch the game, but I have an excuse. I invited the kids as friends over to hopefully to occupy them, but I didn't realize the parents would stay.
Okay, this is
okay. And if they're listening, I hope they're always welcome to stay. So it's very nice of them to stay. Okay, but
you can even have it on in the background.
They're not listening. Don't worry.
I was walking around an amusement park checking in every once in a while. I mean, you could have watched a little bit.
Does Jaden? Do they have to win on Sunday? They absolutely have to win on Sunday. If they want to be taken seriously as contenders, they have to beat the teams who they're supposed to beat. All right, and looking at the Eagles suck right now. I mean, the Eagles, Sirianni's celebrating.
Sirianni is the Can we talk about the Eagles for just a second?
Where's Pete from Philly?
Wait. Well, I just want to say one thing before we switch. The thing about the Commanders that's going to make this season, if you ask me, is you can't keep being okay with losing to the Bucs and losing to the Ravens. Eventually, you're going to need one of those games to really prove who you are. Yes, it's one thing to beat the teams you're supposed to beat, but I think you're going to have to beat one of these upper echelon teams.
Supposed to beat the Bengals.
Matt,
the Bengals. Come on, the Bengals almost lost to the Giants. Yes,
in this NFC, beating the teams you're supposed to beat could get you to the NFC Championship.
Yes,
that'll get you into the. It'll get you close. But
we're actually favored to win every game on our schedule outside of the 2 Eagles, which I do not believe in.
What and why?
The Saints, which somehow I don't understand. We're favored in every other game except Eagles, Saints, Eagles. Yeah, it makes no sense.
The Saints are interesting because they've shown they can score in bunches, but without their quarterback there,
exactly,
maybe not. Like, I was high on them to start the season, maybe not. The Eagles, maybe it's just because historically they've had DC's number, although I don't think that holds up in recent years. I think
historically, we
Sirianni. I want to talk specifically about Sirianni, right? If there's a person who perfectly epitomizes like the city that they coach in, it is like Dan Campbell in Detroit and Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia. Like, you can't. What are you doing going crazy at fans when you're barely beating the Browns? I heard this on local talk radio, and I loved it this week. We learned more about the Commanders in a loss than we did about the Eagles in a win this week. The Eagles beating the Browns, the poopy Browns, by like 3 points at home with all of their studs back. That team is going nowhere fast. Like, they shouldn't scare anybody in the NFC East or in the NFC at large.
That's why if you're the Commanders, you take care of business against the Panthers, Bears, you accumulate your wins, you get healthy. I did not know about Jonathan Allen. I'm just catching up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peck.
That's a huge blow. And
Give
so
him your Peck. You've been working on it. Sub in your Peck. Your Peck for his Peck. I mean, it's a huge blow.
The thing is, we're talking as if this is, you guys are going to kill me for this. We're talking as if this is a Dan Snyder, Ron Rivera team. We already passed the first litmus test of seeing the shitty Browns, and we came out and we curb stomped them. That is a game that in previous regimes, you don't get that win. So we've already proven that when there's subpar play coming to meet us, we beat them and we beat them handedly. Now, obviously, when you see the Panthers, I want a 50 burger on them. I want to win. I want to win like the Bucks. I want to win 52-14 against this team and just dominate them. But we've already seen from a coaching standpoint in this team, this 2024 version of this team, that we do not play down to opponents.
But if you got to be a little concerned about this injury, right? I mean, I'm not a big fan of this addition by subtraction. Like, I'm excited to see what Johnny can come in and do. They have other pieces they can sub in there, but this is one of your leaders on defense. You don't have many of them to begin with, and
yeah, but it's also it's your deepest position. And listen, I love Jonathan Allen, and he has been a staple for us for 4 or 5 years now.
Yes,
but he's also hasn't really done anything this year, right? And you have Daron Payne there, and you have Johnny Newton, right? You have Fedarius Mathis. You have the depth there. So while it sucks to lose that leader, he's not your A1 leader, right? You have Wagner now. You have Luvu that's coming in as your heartbeat. Jonathan Allen, like he doesn't have to be the leader that he needed to be in previous seasons. He just had to be a staple on that D line. The D line can do better, right? And I don't really think you're losing too much with John Allen. Nobody wants injuries on this team, but if you're going to get an injury, especially in the defensive side, Jonathan Allen was the one you want to lose. Even Daron Payne has a little bit more ceiling than Jonathan Allen. And it sucks to say that because he's such a great guy. But this is like when you get hurt, and I think Stevie said it last week, right? Like the really good teams survive the injury bugs, or the injury bugs hit players that don't really affect.
Yeah, but the Lions are going to regress without Aiden. I mean, this is going to happen.
Yeah,
we saw
100%. But Jonathan Allen isn't our Aiden Hutchinson, right? It's
but
completely different.
I think he might be.
No. You're also not starting with a full deck on defense. You're starting with a deficient unit that is now more depleted. And so the defense was exposed on Sunday from what I saw.
No, right? Every defense in the league gets exposed by Lamar and Derrick Henry. So I don't buy that.
They take you seriously as top contenders. The defense needs to get better. And an injury to one of their best players doesn't help that.
But when you're looking at the team at a whole,
thought, gentlemen,
who would you rather lose? Somebody on your D line or somebody on your O line? You want to lose somebody in your D line?
Well, I would rather lose Andrew Wiley.
Yeah, easy to say because he burned us twice. But then who comes in behind Wiley, right? You don't have anybody.
Anybody but Andrew Wiley.
Yeah.
He got exposed on Sunday.
Yeah, Derek Doctor.
Right now, protecting Daniels is your number one. But let me just tell you this: you've got two guys out there right now. You got Max Crosby. You got Myles Garrett. If you make a phone call, you just see those teams are
you know what I'm saying? This is my guy.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, look, this is your chance to really look. I think you've got the right ownership. I think you've got a great coach. What I'm saying is, you can't because I'm looking at the schedule here. I am worried about the Bears game, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, Caleb is showing. Caleb is very well. Caleb's played very well. And honestly, there's another game on there that nobody's talking about. The Falcons, Kirk Cousins coming back. What I'm saying is you need somebody, you need a pass rusher. You need somebody to shore up your defensive line. And I'm saying it might be worth a call to one of those two teams. They're tanking as it is.
And if only they had a guy named Montez Sweat, right? Or someone.
Get out of here, Joe.
Is he not? Is he not immediately better than everyone on the roster at that position?
Yes, but
Okay.
Don't make me go back. Don't make me go in reverse into a Dan Snyder and a Ron Rivera
I understand.
era.
I understand. And there was the graphic that everybody talked about. It was like all of the Ron's guys were either inactive or off and whatever. I actually think they got to get Forbes back on the field. I think you have to definitively know if you've got
it's definitively known already. That's why he wasn't activated.
Else, right? You were the guy that was like, he's a ball hawk. He's going to go catch
I have never in my life been high on Forbes.
Be very careful.
I have never been high on Forbes.
I will go pull up the tape.
Yeah, I will go
pull up the tape. I can guarantee you my immediate draft reaction
next week. I will play your voice slurping up a whole bunch of Emmanuel Forbes. Okay.
Is Matt wearing a training suit jacket?
Yeah, he's coaching.
I'm going to coach some soccer, man. You know, like you got to look athletic.
This is it.
As much as I would love edge pressure, and this was my immediate reaction, and then JP Finley tweeted it after me. If the Browns are selling, I posted it in DTC chat, and then 5 minutes later, JP Finley tweets it. If the Browns are selling, I want us to call about some cornerbacks.
I mean, they need it. They need it badly, right? I mean, the defense has been playing much better weeks 3, 4, 5. Like they were looking better, but they're not very good. Right, like this is not even a playoff.
Nobody thought they were good, but at the same time,
but I'll tell you the issue with
Ravens
Panthers,
team.
The issue with the Panthers coming down
performed as good as every other defense they saw.
Yes, but you're the Red Rifle when he comes in here with a real you talk about a team with some skill position players that go completely under the radar. Chuba Hubbard is a handful at running back, and Deontay Johnson that guy is a stud. Just nobody pays attention to him because he's a Carolina Panther. But he gets open easily. He catches everything. I mean, they're going to have their hands full. Like I don't. The Panthers isn't a give me game. It's just not something. I don't think you can pencil in win the way you could if it was Bryce Young under center. But they have to win this game.
This whole conversation. I'm an old school guy. This idea of the trade deadline in the NFL and all this like Amari Cooper, Devontae Adams.
Did Cooper officially get moved?
10 years
is on the Bills.
It's great for both of them.
Great.
This is so weird. Like football, this didn't happen in the NFL 10 years ago. You didn't switch teams and threaten
Herschel Walker was traded for like everybody.
Exactly. It's like the one time
in the offseason.
Wasn't there
no it's been happening forever? What are you talking about?
Mid-season?
Yeah.
No.
Maybe not stars. Maybe not all pro guys. Yeah.
These guys don't know about baseball. Compared to baseball's trade deadline, there's nothing.
No, it's nothing. It's nowhere near.
NBA too. NBA used to be crazy at deadline. It's a lot more.
Yeah, but I mean, we're
talking. Just signs a long-term contract.
We're talking 6 to 8 seasons now. We've had stars trading from team to team at the trade deadline.
No, but not to this level of Cooper and Adams.
Yeah, same.
Which move do you like better, Cooper or Adams?
Cooper,
I agree.
Yeah,
Cooper.
The Bills
financially, the Bills just got a steal.
Yes.
Look, all I can say is the Bills made a trade that made their team better. The Jets just made a trade that makes their quarterback happy.
I don't understand. I don't understand at all what's happening with the Jets. I don't understand that team at all. I don't understand.
You don't know about ayahuasca because you don't know.
It's Green Bay East.
You don't know about ayahuasca.
But what do you do with this team? Like, how do you
get high to watch?
I don't understand this. I don't get any of the moves they made. I don't get the release of just let him play it out. Like the team stinks. Well, what's dropping the head coach going to do for you? And then why not put the Nathaniel Hackett in charge? I don't understand anything there.
The biggest thing is, how are you going to fire your head coach and then go out and bring in the guy to make the offense better?
Why are you listening to the quarterback who is clearly well over and past this prime? Like I don't get that either. Like this team is going nowhere and they're just acquiring more pieces. I don't get anything that they're doing right now.
What's crazy is both of those trades is AFC East. AFC East is stacked outside of the Patriots. Like when it comes to like wide receiver talent, right? AFC East is stacked. If Miami were to actually have a quarterback, that would be one of the funnest divisions to watch in football. But I mean, if the Bills don't run away with this right now, or the Packers, right? If the Packers have nobody else to fire or blame after this trade, if none of this works, Yeah, I mean it's fascinating. I almost
Packers,
wish
do you
Hard
mean
Knocks.
Jets?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, the thing. Yeah.
Exact. It's the same.
Same
thing.
same color, same
Yeah,
players.
it's all exactly the same.
You know what happened? Aaron Rodgers turned the lights off in the locker room, right? Had everybody sit in the dark for a while
Wilderness
and
retreat.
just basically,
Sounds like a Diddy
you know,
party. I don't.
But that's they're not that different. But I'm just saying, look, this guy has them wrapped around his finger. Woody Johnson, look, what other choice does he have, right? You've
The
got
team
Aaron
has
Rodgers,
been
you got
terrible
Robert
before,
Saleh,
Matt. He's
right? Like,
never fired anybody mid-season.
I understand,
That's
but
like
if
his
Aaron
thing.
Rodgers comes into your office and says, I can't work with this coach, I can't work
No,
with
he should have
my
traded.
receiver
He should have looked at Aaron Rodgers and traded him to Miami.
but you're
Yeah.
not going to. You're not bold enough. You're
Woody
right, but you're not
Johnson's a
bold.
beta.
You put everything into Aaron Rodgers.
Somebody was saying Aaron Rodgers is doing this on purpose because of the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine, and this is his way to get back at them.
He's like working for RFK now. This is like him and RFK.
Yeah. He's a deep mole.
I don't understand what's happening with the team. And look, and keeping it, well, we'll pivot here to NFC East. We talked about Philly. I mean, the Giants, I don't fully understand the Giants because they're not supposed to be as competitive as they are, but they seem to be hanging in basically against anyone. They play up or down to their competition every week. I just
they're not competitive.
Well,
they're one Daniel Jones away from being competitive.
Yeah, well,
I don't actually think he's the problem.
He's 100% the problem.
He's part of it, but he's not the whole thing.
Look, I will say he actually, in the game in Seattle, he actually played a really good game and deserves a lot of credit for that, right? But you get 3 good games a year from Daniel Jones, and the rest, you're just holding your head. But I will say, again, every team has injuries, but Malik Neighbors going out. Their running back was out. Singletary, everyone has been out on the Giants.
I don't think they're as bad as people think they are.
I will say they actually feel their defense is actually leading the league in sacks, right? So what I'm saying is the Giants actually have pieces to be competitive game to game, but that's the problem. They're playing game to game, right? There's no overarching
hold on. But
putting a team together for the season.
Would you rather have the Giants roster top to bottom right now and their financial standing, or the Cowboys? I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going to take the Giants because you've got room. You've got room to make moves. Like you offloaded all your expensive pieces.
I wouldn't take either front office. I'll tell you that, because if the Giants just stuck to their laurels, right? If they just kept Saquon Barkley, they didn't overpay Daniel Jones, they would be 5 years ahead of where they currently are, right? They just keep shooting themselves in the foot. And that's the Giants' problem, because they built a great team. They built a great defense. Their O-line is actually sufficient, right? But
finally,
they just keep shooting themselves in the foot by overpaying for a dud of a QB because he looked great against a Ron Rivera Redskins team twice a year.
Yes.
That was the main reason. And then they let their number one piece go away.
But they're not as not competitive. I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense as the Cowboys. The Cowboys are in big trouble. Like Jets size trouble. Cowboys aren't. I mean, they overpaid for
2 blowouts
in my opinion.
Weeks.
They overpaid Dak. They didn't address running back as if it was just like they were going into the season with no running back, no plan to run the ball whatsoever.
Every time I hear Ezekiel Elliott's name, I was like, why is he still?
No, he shouldn't even be on the field. Go get Alfred Morris at this point. Put him back there. Find another body that can.
Derrick Henry wanted to go. They didn't want to pay him.
But this is where Jerry and how McCarthy's still employed. I have no idea. To lose like that in your 4 o'clock primetime spot, it's always Cowboys, America's team, blah blah blah. They looked atrocious.
On
Dak
Jerry's
looks
birthday.
Terrible.
Yeah,
that team is.
By the way, he's threatening announcers to our radio hosts now.
He's like, it's not your job to ask me these questions. 100% their job.
So be careful. Somebody's gonna come get your job too, Azer. No, but listen, I think the frustrating thing about the Giants was I would have rather they tanked this season. And the problem is I don't want them to go 7-9, right? Or whatever, 7-10. I don't want that. I'd rather you tank. Don't be mid-level. Tank and get another high pick and start building something, right? Come off of Daniel Jones. And so the frustrating thing with the Giants is they're going to win games that they're not supposed to win, right? They're going to lose games that they should have won, which is what they do really well. And they're going to end up mid-tier, right? Just on the cusp of they're going to be hanging on till week 16, and then they're going to just lose out. And that's just a frustrating place to be. You don't want, and Dable's going to keep his job because of that, because he did a lot with very little.
I don't think he's terrible. He's not terrible.
I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm just saying, I think he needs a quarterback.
His front office is terrible. He's
Yeah.
doing the best of what he's
He
given.
reminds me a lot of Matt Eberflus. Like, he's not a terrible coach. He's had
He's-
terrible
I would-
moments, but he's not a terrible coach.
I would equate him to when Jay Gruden was here, right? He got curb stomped and stifled by the front office, but he did the best with what he was given and put up a fairly competitive product on the field.
I think
I
that's
think there's there's a possibility here that the Giants and the Eagles end up within a game of each other this season. Like that's how little I think of the Eagles and how sort of surprising I think the Giants are going to be. I think
DC's going to
the Commanders win the East, right?
It's theirs to lose. I mean, just based on the competitiveness and the structure of these teams, as bad as the Commanders' defense is, it's their division to lose. Like, and they should win it. They should.
They should.
Right? If they split all of their games, I mean, if they just split with their NFC East opponents, they're going to win. They should win the division. And frankly, at that point, we had this conversation last week and the week before. The Lions, the Vikings on paper. Was there anyone else? Niners look okay. All right. Even without McCaffrey, fine. But that's it. Like, it's not like you're chasing a whole bunch of teams. You know, they lost to the Bucks. Fine. They'll have a tiebreaker if it comes down to it. But the only way into the playoffs, I think, right now, at least as the records stand right now, is you've got to win the division because it looks like the NFC North is going to put 3 teams in. Like I was going to say,
possibly all
I don't see them beating the Packers either right now. I think Jordan Love's going to I think that offense is really, really strong. And so Commanders are probably 5th, 6th in the NFC. They're a strong playoff team, right? But I think the 3 teams we named, and I think, you're looking at Bears and Packers as potentially like just a notch ahead of where the Commanders are at.
I mean, a lot of it comes down to Peters, right? Like Peters hasn't missed yet since he's been brought in. And the real question is, with where we are right now, ahead of expectation, do you go chips in, make some trades at the deadline? Let's really compete because let's make that first year of your 4-year Super Bowl window really count. Which I mean, I don't think I'm mistaken. I don't think I'm mistaken in saying we're in our current Super Bowl window. This is the window and it's officially opened. Make it count now, right? But on the same time, if Peters is like too far back on defense, it's I'm not going to mortgage all our draft picks or all of the cap space.
I hear you. You if you're advising him, right? If you're in the room and he says, "Hey, FP, what should I do?" Move what you can and get the pieces you can. Whether it's Crosby, get whoever you can to help this defense. Because what your offense has shown you is they're going to consistently get to 20 or more points.
If it's going to be a move, it needs to be like a Max Crosby or equal level move. Yeah. Don't bring me in anybody that is not an immediate All-Pro.
I agree with
Pro Bowl contender.
I think player. You have to do it because the way the NFC in particular is shaking out now, it's wide. I mean, it's as close as close to wide open as it's been in years.
Hold on, man.
Go ahead.
I've been saying there's no dominant team in the NFL, which is unusual, I guess, since Kansas City or whatever. No dominant team in the NFL, wide open NFC, and a stud quarterback on a rookie contract. Those are the 3 recipes or the 3 ingredients that make a Super Bowl recipe. So you have a window, like FP said. I don't think. And I think Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper just showed us, I don't think you're mortgaging your future, even if you go and get an all-pro like a Crosby or whatever. I mean, I don't think it's one of those things where it is like a Herschel Walker trade where you alluded to earlier. That I don't think it's giving up every draft pick. I think
it's more than a 3rd rounder for sure, though.
No, but look at the trades that happened today. As somebody pointed out in the chat, I mean, who would have thought that Adams, Cooper, and John Dotson are all worth a 3rd? Like, that's insane. They're all worth a 3rd round pick.
Fleece the Eagles, baby. I love it.
Like, if you can you have the draft capital to make a move, right? There's not a whole lot of pieces you're gonna part with from this team.
Here's the only perspective I'd like to propose to you guys. Look, if you get to the 2nd round of the playoffs this year, it's a success from where you were, right? So what I'm saying is, my point is, if you like right now, going all in actually sets you up from failure next season, right? Because if you don't win this year and then you don't again, but I actually say you slow play it, you build the team smart, you protect Daniels, you getting into the playoffs this season, getting to the second round, everyone in DC is going to be elated, right? You make some smart moves in the offseason. That's where you go. You overpay. You make a big trade. You see what's happening in the draft. Everybody's who's sitting out, right? I think you actually have a chance to build, and then you're talking Super Bowl
All right,
in
fine.
2 seasons, right?
Yeah, but
I think
Matt,
but
you get to the
I love
second
New
round.
Orleans. I want to go now.
Well,
Don't be a snob, you little Mets fan. Okay,
look at where Peters came from. That's the culture he came from sustained, slow-built success.
God.
That's where he came from
I
the
know.
Patriots and the Niners and all of these places where you do build a solid roster top to bottom, where even if you lose your stud player like the Niners with McCaffrey, they're still a really competitive team. They still have next guy up. Jordan Mason comes in, and all of a sudden they're like, oh crap, maybe we don't even have to pay McCaffrey anymore because they're drafting and building so well.
FP, give me a fact check on this. The Redskins have the second most amount of cap space next year.
Yeah.
So let's not sleep on we're gonna.
And you have 9 draft picks in the top 100.
Give me up a couple of those to get a stud.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna get in a stud, if you're gonna get in a stud, like it has to be Myles Garrett, right? Max Crosby, like high up stud, not any of these. I mean, Micah would love to come. I doubt they're gonna trade him to the East.
They're not trade into division, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. You make the phone call if those guys are available.
Well, that's the thing. Micah's hurt, so don't do that, right? Like, don't bring me in a hurt player. That's what the Redskins of old did, right? They brought in bruised and banged up players, and they're like, oh, we could squeeze a little more.
Junior Gillette. Gillette.
I still follow Junior Gillette. He's great.
Junior Gillette, man.
Still telling everybody. He's still telling everybody he has that quick twitch and can play.
I mean, he was on the team for 2 minutes and got like a huge Redskins sleeve, and I was like, well, that's
concerning.
Yeah,
he tore his Achilles both times.
Yeah,
I want to call that a stage 9 clinger.
Yeah.
He's got those crazy eyes. Huh?
So I don't know if there's any other football topics. I mean, the Ravens. I think the Ravens showed that they are a different caliber team, even at a 4-2 record. The Chiefs, we'll see. I mean, I guess it's Travis and your girl Stevie popped up on my TV at a Yankees game yesterday. So
who cares?
We can't escape them anymore. Like they are now cross sport. Okay,
it's
now
Kamala's girl. Okay, it's not my girl. It's Kamala.
Well, that too. I mean, should we talk about the Yankees first? I want to give Matt his moment here because this guy, the last time we saw him,
I've been holding my own in the NFL. Thank you very much. So.
Well, yeah, but I mean, baseball's your first love. I don't think anyone's gonna argue against it. The Mets, somebody said it, maybe it was Stevie. The Mets have Nats vibes going into the playoffs.
I don't want to say that, but yeah.
Yeah, but they're still alive and they looked pretty good. And I mean, you're doing all of the, the emotional hedging in the chat and you're basically talking to yourself, but it's great. Yep. I'm here for it. I'm here to follow along.
Dude.
They very much could win this. And the two of you in particular, feel like you owe everyone an apology because the amount of Ohtani talk going into this, the guy disappeared. Where
I keep turning on the TV to see the magic. I don't see anything. I don't understand the hype.
Super boring. You know what? I turned on the Yankees and Juan Soto was hitting bombs. Turn on the Dodgers. It's sunny. Everybody's happy to be there. No one's paying any attention. Nobody cares. What's going on?
Well, that's LA for you, right? Listen, look. I know what I know about Ohtani. I know what the guy can do. He does things that other people just can't do, right? But he hasn't shown up in the playoffs, right? Look at Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge hits bombs in the playoffs. He's been quiet, right? I think that's what makes the baseball playoffs so, right? One team against another team 5 times, right? To see who could do it better over that period of time. And there's so much strategy in baseball. And I'm saying the Padres before them and now the Mets actually have a strategy around getting to. There's been an interesting stat out there that he's 0 for 19 or 20 when there's nobody on base, right? And he's 6 for 8 when there are people on base because they're trying to pitch around him. They're scared. The guy knows how to step up for the moment. I'm glad that he's sucking right now. That's not something that I'm going to complain about, right?
My point is it's not appointment television. Why is the world, has everything stopped for him?
Yeah, you don't need to kowtow to these idiots, okay, who don't know anything. He just said the guy is 6 for 8 with runners in scoring position. to say he's not doing
No
anything.
one's ever in scoring position. It's the
with
most.
runners on, not even in score, like with runners on. The guy,
With
yeah.
The teams are the team is not playing well in last game, but I mean, come on, like just because he's not hitting some, tape measure.
I'm expecting the way everybody talks about. I'm expecting Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Jeter, like appointment television. I'm not seeing it. Sorry, not seeing it.
Look,
You watch as much of that as I watched the Redskins game on Sunday. Don't give me that.
Listen, I had that Mets game on the entire game yesterday. They were up by like $1 billion, and Matt's like, "Oh, they're gonna lose. This is gonna happen. They're gonna break their leg."
Started to, right? They started to give it back. Look, you know who has shown up? Let's get off Ohtani for a second. Francisco Lindor. That guy has actually shown up. He's going to come number 2 in the MVP race. Okay. Like the guy led off big home run to lead off the game. The guy is going to be second in the MVP race. You have Mark Vientos who's batting. Look, the Mets are dangerous. The Mets are actually really dangerous. And that's really weird to say as a Mets fan, because I'm saying it with one hand over my heart, right? Like I have to hedge.
Will they win the series?
A real fan would never answer that question.
Yes.
Will they win? Absolutely.
The Mets will win this series. The Mets will win this series. The Mets will win in 6.
All my money on the other team.
Okay. I'll put it on the Dodgers. That's right. Put your money on the Dodgers.
Get FanDuel open immediately.
I was just going to go back to that previous thing, Joe. I will bet you that Shohei Ohtani will do 2 things that will be attention television, whatever you called it.
Okay, I'll take the bet.
What is 2 things? Okay.
All right. Who FP gets to define 2 things? Okay. So the bet between me and you is that he'll do 2 things of note, and FP will decide. He pops up in between food and women on his Instagram.
He will do 2 things that will show you that he is the greatest player that we've ever seen.
Okay. Deal. Bet.
Here's why I say
Are we really not saying what the 2 things are?
No, but apparently just 2 things. I'm just gonna know.
FP.
He will steal a base and he will.
So if he infiltrates my algo, those are the things. That's what
Matt, that's bad juju. You want to start talking crap about Ohtani right now?
No, I'm saying he will steal a base. Like he's gonna steal a base. He's gonna have a big hit.
Or he's gonna come out of the bullpen.
He does it and looks as smooth as like Trey Turner does it. That could be a thing because that'll pop up on social media.
If he comes out of the bullpen and pitches in relief,
that would be a thing.
Be one of the most amazing.
What if he goes 0 for 5 in the next game? Is that a thing?
If they win 9-0, no.
Look, let me just say this, all right? If the Mets were to win the World Series this season, going through the Brewers, the Phillies, the Dodgers, and then the Yankees, it will have been the greatest postseason run of any team in the playoffs. Okay. First of all, the Dodgers, Yankees, and the Phillies were the top 3 teams in baseball. The Brewers were a close 2A. Behind that, I'm telling, and the thing is, the crazy thing is there are flaws on the Dodgers and their pitching staff. There are flaws on the Yankees. Okay, in terms of their bullpen beyond.
Who's going to win the whole thing? I mean, honestly, baseball talk is just as boring as baseball. But like, who is going to win the World Series?
In the beginning, I said Dodgers. Right in the beginning, remember when I first I said Dodgers, Yankees.
He's switching topics on us. Okay, in the beginning,
in the beginning. We always got to go back to the beginning. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Okay, don't say it. I'm going to say it for you. He's got the Mets winning. Stevie, who's going to win the whole thing?
The Dodgers are going to win the whole thing. Matt DeMet, if the Mets make the World Series, will you be at Citi Field for any of those games?
I feel like you got to go.
For sure. I got to go. I got to go. I have to.
Do we assume the Yankees will beat out Cleveland? Is that just assumed?
Cleveland will win a game. Cleveland's got a good, but it'll go 5. Yankees will win in 5. A Mets-Yankees, I know nobody else around the country wants to see Mets-Yankees Subway Series, but I'm telling you.
We did see it, though. Was it 2000?
2000. Yeah, 2000.
But a Yankees-Dodgers series with that star power blows the lid off of anything else happening in sports at the moment.
Unless if Judge and Shohei don't show up, if they continue to not show up, it becomes much less interesting. But I do think that is the series that MLB is praying for behind the scenes, right? Like the umpires are going to get some calls to make some calls,
especially
right?
after last year, right?
So,
Nobody wanted to see Arizona.
nobody wanted to see Arizona, Texas, right? Yeah, but it's like what the 3 out of the 4 matchups are really enticing, and that's the cool thing is like 3 out of the 4 possible matchups are quite enticing, but the rest of it.
Do you care at all about who makes it where? Are you watching?
I'm watching. I mean, I enjoy playoff baseball and I can appreciate it. So I have it on and I'm watching. But it's also October and it's the time where any kind of sports comes on and I'm pretty much watching it. Because
Are you watching Ovi chase the record, or are you watching playoff baseball, or both? Like which one is on? Which
Caps will take priority for me over baseball until the actual World Series, and
it's
then that'll
game 3 of the
work.
season.
I know,
game 3 of the NHL.
Hey, what's the problem?
I care about my local team. What do I care if the Dodgers do great in New York?
But it's an 82 game season. Nothing happens in the first 40
How
games.
many of the
Did you watch? Hold on.
Did you watch?
Steve was probably watching spring training during the NHL playoffs.
I was watching.
He doesn't get enough baseball. He's got to go to the baseball.
I will watch Love Is Blind season 9 when it drops tomorrow before a Caps game. Okay, and that's usually doing it too.
First of all, playoff hockey way more exciting than playoff baseball.
I agree.
I'll fight you to the death on that one.
Wait, is the Love season whatever? Is that the Habibi? Is that the Habibi show? The Love is
There's
no, someone just told me.
And then there's a Habibi one.
Someone just told me it was in Abu Dhabi or Dubai.
Yeah. It's in Dubai.
But the Love Is Blind season 9 is in DC. So you have all these betas. Betas.
So many betas.
My goodness. Okay.
They're also all from
anyone that we know.
From like Loudoun County.
Anybody we know going to pop up?
Well, no, but if I went on it, I'd crush it. I would crush it.
I would love
Slow and baby bouncy
social media's reaction.
Slow and baby bouncy.
You didn't get the call back. What happened? I thought you went for the casting call.
Have you boys watched the Rabbi Love show?
Nobody wants this?
Nobody wants this. Thank you. I was blanking on it. You haven't watched it?
What was the comment that came in? I wanted to see it. You took it off.
Saying that the Dodgers will win and nobody will care. I don't think
nobody in LA will care.
No one in LA cares either. No one's paying attention.
I like taking a shot at LA.
Hockey's so boring that we went to reality TV Netflix. Is that what just happened?
How many does Ovi need for the record? I feel like we need to do we need to get some production around.
42. I mean, that'll be big time.
Is he still putting 40 goals a season? I don't think he's doing.
Yeah, it'll happen. Anymore. He got close to 40 last season. It'll happen this season.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
We've been postponing the rebuild for 3 years to help him get.
Also looks so old. Yeah. He's got so
he's
so great.
Where is he going to celebrate in Arlington? FP.
Yeah. Ballroom.
Not Spider Kelly's.
Straight back to Russia.
Does the ballroom still exist? He's still doing sundries.
He's going to go straight back to Russia and never come back. He's done with America.
I mean, this is your time, FP, when it comes to the Caps. I mean, Tom Wilson's still on the team. Is there anyone else of note that we need to be following? Right, Tom Wilson is on the team.
Tom Wilson is on the team. He's your alternate captain. I mean, the team
captain. Yes,
yeah, he's wearing the A instead
of
the
A. He's the A. Yeah, you got
whatever.
I thought it was assistant captain.
No, alternate captain.
We should go to a Rangers Caps game one time.
Caps games
Hockey's a good time.
Caps games are fun.
They are good.
When is the XFL back?
The Rocks League? That's the Rock? UFL? XFL?
DC United make the MLS playoffs? I don't know. What are they still to decide?
We're just trying to find the most boring topics ever.
This is yeah.
Can we go power rankings NFL and on a high note? Can we do something?
And on a high note.
I mean, we can talk. Let's do that.
No Trump? We didn't know any Trump.
We can let's do that after this. But I mean,
we're just gonna finish the podcast 30 minutes early and play music for the rest of it.
Yeah, the DTC playlist is coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, FP, big change in your world as far as the power rankings go? I mean, most people still have the Chiefs and Bills somewhere in the top there. Ravens, I think, belong there too. Who else? Who's fallen out of it? Maybe the Lions due to injury?
I think the Lions are number 1 after what they did to the Cowboys. I think you got to keep the Chiefs there. You maybe move the Ravens up to 3, and then you probably have the Vikings 4. I'm not sure about 5. It's so wide open. Maybe the Packers or the Bucks can creep up to 5.
I'm looking at my last week. Commanders still feel like they're a 6-7 for me, and
Yeah.
I actually still like them there, to be honest. But I understand that some people won't like that, but I think they belong in that conversation. The offense is good enough.
Actually,
could they have won the game?
Forgot about them. They could probably be top
Texans
5.
look good too, but I mean, yeah, I'm really interested to see if the Commanders make a move though going into the the deadline here. Like if this defense was just a little bit better,
Yeah,
they didn't get 40 hung on them by the Ravens, but they couldn't stop it. They just couldn't stop Lamar and wide open spaces. I mean, they need linebacker help. They need cornerback help. They need help. But the offense is good enough to compete with anyone. I think the Aiden Hutchinson injury, I think you guys are underselling it a little bit. I think it's a big deal for the Lions.
It's a big deal, but you also have to look. Defenses around the league are kind of weak right now. So if your offense can still hang 50 points like it's nothing, I think you're fine, right? I mean, that's kind of all of these teams, right? Like, I think the Chiefs are the only ones that have the strongest defense and the weakest offense. Everybody else in the top 5, it's the other way around. Stronger offense, weak defense. So I think the Lions can survive it for sure.
I think, yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm looking at like a team like the Bengals. I think the Bengals are still better than the record indicates. I think a team like I mean, the Vikings are probably not as good as the record indicates.
It comes down to what we've been saying, right? The whole reason why the NFL at large is open, right, and the NFC is open is because nobody really has that complete team, right? So if there's no offense that the Commanders should really be scared of, it goes the same for the Lions with a much better defense minus 1 all-star, right? So I still think they're the best team in the league.
What do you expect in the game against the Panthers? We'll end on that. Give me a prediction. Give me a score. Give me a prediction.
Hope is going to be that we come out and completely dominate them. Like I'm saying 48-52 Redskins versus versus like 13-14 for the Panthers. Like, okay. I want a big score discrepancy.
Okay.
But I just want a solid performance top to bottom, all 3 phases clicking. I would expect it to look more like the Browns game where it was a dominating win, but the score doesn't reflect it. That's kind of what I'm expecting to see.
This is tough for me because I see it going more like the Giants game. I actually think they're going to struggle to get points. I don't know why. I just feel like the offense is due for a stinker. They haven't had one in a month. That's just, again, this may be my emotional hedge, but I just think it's going to happen. And I'm actually terrified of the Panthers. Dalton he's not playing for anything except pride. He's going to sling it everywhere. And there are some playmakers on that offense that the Skins really don't have answers for. I do like the Skins to win it. I think it'll be another low scoring one, 24-17, somewhere in that range. I think they will win this, but I don't think it's going to be, I think there may be a little bit too much bravado going into this one. That's just my read. It's just my hunch, right? I hope I'm wrong, right? If Jaden comes out and just continues to play like a poised, savvy veteran as opposed to a rookie, I'll be super happy, right?
I will say
they do need this one though.
A lot of it rides on if B-Rob is healthy or not, and if he can go,
Yes.
because as great as Eckler, McNichols, Rodriguez are as kind of your RB2 and down, it's very clear you need B-Rob. You need that battering ram to come in and really make this offense hit that next stage, right? And if you had him against the Ravens, maybe that difference, that 6-point difference might, I mean, maybe don't get it, but you're a missed field goal and B-Rob away from at the very least being tied up and pushing it to overtime.
Yeah, I don't, I wanted to make that argument. I actually had it on my notes coming in. Like, how would the script have fared, or how would the game have fared? How would it have fared differently if Robinson was out there and he was healthy? But in the end, I just don't think they had an answer. They would have still not had an answer to Lamar and Derrick Henry. They're just Zay Flowers was. We didn't even say his name, but I mean, he looked like an all-pro.
The answer is the Ravens took whatever our defense gave them, right? So in the first half of the game, we were committed to stopping the run. Derrick Henry did nothing. He had like 39 yards. But then Zay Flowers torched us in the middle.
You knew it was coming.
Right? So then halftime adjustment, we're like, okay, let's hope we can slow down Derrick Henry, shore up the middle, right? So then now you have your safety dropping back. And then Derrick Henry took over, right? And that's kind of the magic of the Ravens right now is whatever defense they're seeing, they'll play the other way around, right? If they have to air attack, they will. If they have to run, they will. There's really no stopping them. But the thing is, the Commanders are more or less situated to be the same way. We just didn't have the run attack. We had no running game. I like Eckler's great, but he's not your battery.
He's not your number one. You know, the question that I found myself kind of pondering, if you played the Ravens 10 times or the Bills, right? Any pick a team, any
healthy
of the
versus healthy.
Healthy versus healthy. If you played them 10 times, are you losing more than 5 times? A lot of this has to do with the coaching. I think the coaching is significantly improved. Obviously, that goes without saying, but their halftime adjustments have been really good. With the exception of this past week. So
I don't think I think you're truly going to be like an even split with the better teams. Also, I think we need to mention it, but it goes unnoticed because it was a loss. But if you look at some of those throws that Jaden did against the Ravens, some of his best throws all season. So those touchdown passes to Terry, some of the reads he was making, some of the dink and dunks that looked like dink and dunks, fantastic.
Well, your guy Noah too, like he was
perfect positioning, correct shoulder away from defenders. Like Jaden's game that against the Ravens specifically, I think NFL media at large was like, this was one of his better games in the pass attack because he had to rely on the passing. We had no rushing attack, and he was still getting it done in the air against a defense that's not terrible by any means.
No, I mean, we need this one against the Panthers. I think after that, we got Caleb and the Bears.
No, I'm not scared about the Bears at all.
I'm looking forward to that one, though, and I think that one's
I'm looking forward. It got flexed
in the afternoon.
Yeah, but they're fake. They beat the Titans, the Rams, the Panthers, and the Jaguars.
I think you're sleeping a little bit on Caleb.
The 1-3 Titans, the 1-4 Rams, the 1-4 Panthers, the 1-5 Jaguars. Those were who they won against.
Okay,
so I'm not worried about them.
But I'm looking forward to it.
I'm very excited for it, but I think it's because I want to shut the Chicago fan base down. If you get on Reddit or Twitter,
you remember what DJ Moore? You remember what DJ Moore did?
I do.
Last year,
I do.
And on Trash Back Thursday night,
that fan base is so big on the Caleb versus Jaden comparison, more so than like they're all salty that Jaden got the first quarter of the season with high praise and Caleb didn't. That they're way more invested and salty in it than we are. It's like when we thought we had a rivalry with the Eagles and the Cowboys, and those teams didn't even really care about us. It's the same thing.
Well, we'll see what happens. So Sunday is not that far away, given it was a holiday week, and it feels like these short weeks feel like long weeks. But Skins win, don't cover 27-20. That's what's coming in from our guy Sandy. Yeah, that could be a good segment, right? Win but don't cover. Or maybe pick one game a week, win but don't cover.
Yeah.
But I'm good. FP, thank you for making time. The show's DTC. Any final thoughts before we hit our outro?
Best time of the year. Sports on every night of the week. I love it.
Amen to that. We'll see you next week. This has been Defeating the Curse, DTC. Available wherever you get your podcasts every single week. Spotify, Google, Apple, wherever. Just search for Defeating the Curse and we pop right up. Also welcome to watch the show live every week on Facebook, on YouTube, and on X. Email the show at defeatingthecurse@gmail.com. Any questions or queries, anonymity guaranteed. Until next week, we are out.